At last, Mion, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room changed completely. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment. Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Sonozaki, the current heir to the Sonozaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal, and was entirely different from that of the Mion I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both her hands on the tatami mat and gave a beautifully elegant bow, as if this really were a tea ceremony, and named herself.
初めてご挨拶申し上げます。園崎本家当主跡継ぎ、ミヨンでございます。
Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Rin and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine the normal her doing.
本日はようこそ園崎本家においでくださいました。当主お領に代わりまして、皆様におかれましては、いろいろお尋ねになりたいことがおありの様子。私にお話しできることでしたら、包み隠さずお話ししたいと存じます。
What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes.
本当に何を尋ねてもいいんだな。
知る限りをお話しいたしましょう。皆様もそれを望んでここにいらしたのでしょうから。
Rin and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Rin gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now.
どうしてこんなことを？
That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika-chan and Satoko. It went for the mayor, Takano-san, and Tomitake-san as well. No, even further back, for all the incidents that had been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
その問いに対する答えは少し長いものになります。それでもよろしければ、どうかご清聴いただきたく存じます。
Finally gonna get some answers, I think. She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago.
ひなみ沢村がかつて鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていたことをご存知です。
Are we gonna go through the backstory again? Rena nodded lightly, then shot me a glance asking me if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi Village. Yes. I'd heard all about it that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the villages at the foot of the mountain and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic.
そうです。鬼ヶ淵村のご先祖様たちは鬼の血を引く誇り高き仙人たちでした。麓の村々の人たちは崇め、そして敬いました。ですが、そういう空気も徳川の世が終わるとともに廃れていきました。
This music's a tad bit loud. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended, and the tradition of worshipping Onigafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all to be detested. That was the kind of era it became.
明治になり、古い歴史を持つ鬼ヶ淵村の名称は一方的にひなみ沢村に改められてしまいました。古い因習を一掃しようとする明治政府の思惑が強く働いたのだと聞かされています。
The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures? Yeah. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond their means to try and reach the same level of the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be extolled, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was.
そういう時代の激変の中で、滝壺に落ちていく花びらの中に、あっという間に鬼ヶ淵村は消えてしまったのです。
It gets like really loud right there. But I hate to change the volume and mess up all the other audio levels, you know? I'll try to live with it. At last, Japan, provoked by the greatest European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began, and they won war after war, the First Sino-Japanese War and the Russo-Japanese War, until the Pacific War broke out. They recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization.
この頃にはもう鬼ヶ淵村の不可侵性は失われていました。かつて仙人と崇められた村人たちは奇異な目で見下され、神聖な鬼ヶ淵村はいつの間にかおよそ真実とはかけ離れた根も葉もないレッテルを貼られ、苦難の時代を迎えることになったのでした。
Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onigafuchi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa because of the filthy germs that were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot they were touched by rubbing salt on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Hinamizawa, you would be kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces and devoured. Never ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onigafuchi Village's historically accurate, thrilling history all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigafuchi, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce.
ひどいね、そんなの。
I've heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages in civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on a test one time. I recalled being suspicious about it, and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan.
まあ、自業自得と言えないこともないのかもしれません。私たちのご先祖様は自分たちに鬼の血が流れていることを誇りに思い自慢し、麓の人々を蔑んで暮らしてきたのですから。 その神秘性で麓の村人たちを怖がらせ、畏怖と貢ぎ物の献上を要求してきたのですから。
With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery.
太平洋戦争中は国民一丸のスローガンが流れながらも、ひなみ沢村の人々だけは例外でした。数え出したらキリがないくらい、夫や息子を戦場に送り出し、15の女たちも心がすさんでいたのでしょうね。当時をよく覚えている祖母は、それは苦しい時代だったと回想しています。
Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945.
多数の男手を失ったひなみ沢にも、ようやく父や夫、息子たちが戻ってまいりました。もちろん帰らぬ者も多かった。それでも男手がなく村を維持することにすら限界をきたしていたひなみ沢にとって、それはとても喜ばしいことでした。
MacArthur's GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindsets and strove for the abolition of unfair discrimination. They could feel day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era.
敗訴の寸前だった
God, so loud.
もう一度立て直す。そういう機運を高めり、村人たちは村を少しでも豊かにするために働き始めました。
During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sonozaki.
宗平は中国大陸に出兵した際、食料倉庫の管理をしていて、撤退時に上官や仲間たちと共謀して軍の缶詰をごっそりと盗み出していたのでした。それを瀬戸内海某所に隠し、闇市で高値で売りさばいて大きな富を得たのです。
Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the head of the Sonozaki house.
廃れたひなみ沢を復興させよう。村人すべては家族である。この富は共有の財産で、現当主である祖母はそう宣言しました。この大きな富はその後のひなみ沢の復興の大きな力となったのです。
I see. With that, Hinamizawa came back to life, and that's how the Sonozaki family had established its current prosperity.
もちろん闇市で財を成したことを妬む人たちも大勢いましたが、もう村人は気にしなかった。
They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who followed them. The giant family of Hinamizawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. The Sonozaki family, the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind Hinamizawa's revitalization.
その活躍の中心人物がみーちゃんのおばあちゃんなんだね。すごいよね。大活躍。
Mion looked like she was honestly happy Rena had praised her.
ですが、昭和30年頃にまたしても逆風が吹き始めます。それが缶詰疑惑でした。
Dang it, that canned flesh incident. Canned flesh. It sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous.
祖父、園崎宗平の上官だったと名乗る男が告白したのです。彼の調達した缶詰は実は食材を用いたものではなかったのだ。
That seems like a lot of work to put people into a can, you know? Hinamizawa, a village in which demons lived and ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. The light they had finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth, as revealed by his former superior. The stolen provisions from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone for Hinamizawa's revival had been canned human flesh. So was the army feeding people canned people, I guess? The cans are made of people. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just the manager of food warehouses? His superiors revealed that Sohei Sonozaki did not have the job of managing the food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilent mice and to transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. As a result, though, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained. Perhaps that was the only fortunate thing to happen to him. Finally, Sohei was enlisted as an assistant at a military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than the low-scorned, depressing custom of Onigafuchi village in the research they were carrying out. Could that have been, well, you know, the bacteriological core in the old Japanese army or whatever? Okay, we lost voice lines, presumably because the audio is so loud. Keiichi-kun, you've heard of that. What could it be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 73. Why do we know all this? Maybe this is like commonly taught in Japanese schools? I don't know. Pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill the victims. How many days it would be when injected. How many days it would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Is this why we have a mysterious thing that can make someone claw their own throat out? That'd be my guess there. Sometimes they wouldn't bother waiting until they were dead, and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them into centrifuges while still alive, and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their body get pushed outwards, and their intestines get pushed out of their anus, like a snake winding out of it. That sounds pretty bad, I gotta say. I have a feeling I saw something like that in a documentary one time. That's a horrible documentary. Why would you watch that? That makes me sick. And they still hate Hinamizawa, huh? You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving a faint, sad smile. It wasn't much in the way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have it right now. There we go.
より現実的で温情的な研究をしていました。それは戦地での困難な食料調達に関する具体的な手法の研究でした。
Let's just shove people in a can. That sounds delicious. The military's designs at the start of the war completely fell apart, and a chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. The food shortage led to malnutrition, and as their natural resistance is lowered, the soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered as well. They wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently that's where the research started. At first it was to find methods of delivering food to battlefields. It was very broad and included things from violent methods like stealing it from citizens to survival methods like how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. As they were working out the details, they kept straying off course and going out of control, until they finally knocked down a door called Taboo. What do you think the easiest source of protein on a battlefield is? Soylent Green. Rina and I knew the answer without being told, so we didn't answer.
そう、彼らは 通常は食しないものを食材として扱う方法を研究していたのです。彼らは時には敵の、時には望まぬ食物をハンデでも戦い抜くことが国に報いる究極の方針になる、そういう競技を大真面目に組み上げていったのです。滑稽な話ですね。祖父を過去のことで蔑んでおきながら、自分たちはさらにその上を言っていたのですが、祖父はいつも思っていたそうです。たとえ世間の噂がどうあれ、彼らはそれよりもはるかに醜い鬼なんだと。だからいくら蔑まれたってちっとも答えないと。
At last, they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. So it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled meat substitutes. And so that they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bottoms with a circle. It's spam. They got sent spam. The starved soldiers on the front lines apparently loved all the prototypes they were sent. Among them, those who cooked it in soy sauce, like it was sukiyaki, loved it the most.
もうやめてよ、みーちゃん。
Soy sauce makes everything better, including human flesh, apparently.
気分が悪くなってきた。
Renee really was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty continuing to sit on her knees. Mion looked like she had more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there.
じゃあ
We were getting to the good
そ
part.
のミオンやじいさんが持ち帰ったという缶詰は
真偽は分かりません。晩年まで宗平は世間の風評を否定し続けました。ですが、南沢の急激な復興を妬む人々はその疑惑を真実のように面白おかしく書き立て、村人また子供たちが生やし立てられ、石を投げつけられる時代に戻ってしまったのです。
The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless and sad story it was. They discriminated, were discriminated against. Discriminated and were discriminated against. Why must they attach worth and rank to it? Why can't they live without looking down on people? Why can't everyone enjoy life together? I didn't know.
当主である祖母はある時村の子供たちにこう言いました。
If they throw a stone at one of you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, What if they threw stones at two of us? Of course, the answer was simple.
2人に石を投げられたら4人で石を、8人に棒で覆われたら16人で追い返し、30人に中傷されたら
How many kids are there in this
怒鳴り返す。
big pirate gang here? The peg legs and the rocks. Finally, the children asked, What if we're attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple.
1000人に襲われたら南沢の全員で立ち向かいなさい。
Guessing we don't have 2,000 people here?
それは決起を促す劇のようですらありました。祖母は園崎本家当主としてだけでなく、南沢の母太郎として立ち上がっ
Well,
た
you
の
know,
です。
it once again explains a little bit more as to why the whole village sticks together like that. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the US were rampant, a time of battle in action. The people of Hinamizawa joined together and fought, treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. It didn't matter whether that one was a child or an adult. If they heard that a child had been told off, then everyone would crowd the house of the perpetrator, acting as a whole. If they heard an adult had been treated unfairly, men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against it. If you meddled with people from Hinamizawa, you would be in trouble. They probably figured that if they could make others think that, they'd win.
ケイちゃんも町で不良に絡まれた時、たくさんの人たちに助けられたのを思い出しませんか？
I recalled how much of an impression it had left on me. That the people of Hinamizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okinomiya averted their eyes so they wouldn't get involved.
祖母が戦い、両親がそれを引き継ぎ、ようやくひなみ沢にも平和が戻った。もっともその平和もとても薄い川の上に乗ったものです。この100年の歴史を見れば、今の平穏など揺れ返す天秤のたまたまの狭間としか言えないでしょう。
どうして？
Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history when I hadn't moved here more than a year ago? Yet I said it anyway.
どうしてみんなで仲良く暮らし合えないんだよ。高野さんに聞いたお社様の昔話はどうなったんだよ。
Man and demon joined hands and lived together in harmony. Didn't Oyashiro-sama remain in this world to watch over that?
おとぎ話です。人と鬼は実在しても、それを調停するお社様は実在しなかったという。
それでお社様のたたりを起こすことになったの。
A cool gust of wind blows in from outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautiful, clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering, and didn't even change her expression. But even that became a silent answer.
ひなみ沢村に再び鬼ヶ淵村のように崇められるに足る神聖な存在。それが我ら鬼ヶ淵村の末裔の悲願である。園崎本家の鬼を継ぐ者の宿命なのです。
鬼を継ぐの？
我が園崎本家は代々当主の名に鬼の一字を加える習慣があるのです。私の名前を手のひらにでも書いていただければ一目瞭然かと。
I trace out the word Mion on the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is in there.
名前だけではありませんよ。この体にも鬼が刻まれているのです。
Oh, no, 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 keep the clothes. When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing.
いいよみーちゃん、見せる必要なんて全然ない。
ありがとう。
Oh, it's really cool. Take a look. With just that exchange, I guessed what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body, there was a permanent seal, such as a tattoo or marking, that proved that she inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out at the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was the heavy, truly heavy history of Hinamizawa, no, of Onigafuchi, weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to a Mion like that? Rina wasn't saying anything to her either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion murmured.
この5年間の連続事件ね。私が直接関わったものもあるし、間接的に関わったものもある。いくつかは園崎家だけでなく、他の御三家の君吉家や古出家が関わっているものもあるけど、そのすべての中心に私がいたと思う。
She said it all without turning around, with her back to us. At some point, her tone of voice had gone back to being the Mion we knew.
私は自分のしたことには信念を持ってるし、あるとすれば、私の跡継ぎも決まらないうちに 舞台を退かねばならないことくらいかな。私を捕まえて、それで法治国家の体裁が整うなら、それも時代の流れかなって。この100年で一番平和なひなみ沢を見ながら引退できるのは、ひょっとすると歴代の園崎家の当主で一番の幸せなのかもしれないし。
Mion leaned his shoulder against the paper door, then slid down it and flopped to the ground. It was an act of such resignation that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been a part of suddenly began to fade from my mind. Hey, Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try to struggle as much as you can? Try to run away. As soon as I began to think that way, Rena's ringing voice filled the room.
でもみーちゃんはリカちゃんとさとこちゃんを殺したんだよね。
The sharp points of her words stabbed into my chest, despite not being directed at me.
他の人のことは殺してもいいとも言わないよ。でもとにかくみーちゃんはリカちゃんとさとこちゃんを殺した。
Rena's words were more biting than any that I'd ever heard. Even now that we knew all the heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulders, she had criticized her for killing our friends.
私が園崎家の役目を負うように、リカちゃんだって古出家の役目を負っていた。その役目が
Here comes the loud part of the song. My chest tightened.
去年あたりからリカちゃんが言ってたのも知ってたんだよ。西宮殿の勘抜きが重くて辛い。もっと簡単な鍵に付け替えたいって。先代の神主さんでも重いと嘆いてた代物だからね。リカちゃんの辛いのは重々承知だった。
僕がちゃんと番をしますですから、もっと軽い鍵に変えてほしいなのです。
Speak up, Rika. I replied on the behalf of the Sonozaki family leader. Ever since the string of freak death incidents, there seem to be people who are insolent towards Oyashiro-sama, so you shouldn't replace the lock with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, old man Kimiyoshi, If it's that difficult for you, Rika-chan, then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. The very fact that it was locked with a key was an indication of it being somewhere you mustn't enter. There's nobody bad enough to break through it and go inside, he said. Even if we were alike as leaders, I couldn't find it in me to argue with old man Kimiyoshi, since I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock on the storehouse, and switched it to a really cheap and light padlock.
おじいちゃん、本当に大丈夫なんですか？バッチャもできることなら鍵は前のままの方が良かったと言ってます。
大丈夫だよ。心配性だな。何かあったらおじいちゃんがちゃんと責任を取ってあげるから。
Well, I mean, he had it coming for him, really. It's not our fault.
本当ですね。君吉家の当主として責任を取られるという意味ですね。おじいちゃんもこの中に収められているものがどれだけ神聖なものかよく大
丈夫なのですよ。このひなみ沢に鍵を開けて入ってしまう悪い猫さんはいません。
It's okay, they only come from outside the village.
にゃーにゃー。
What a baby. Sobs escaped from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell onto the tatami mat.
西宮殿に賊が忍び込んだという話は綿流しの祭りの最中にもう私の耳に入っていました。賊は4人。その日のうちに手が下されることになりました。同時に西宮殿に賊を許した 古出家のリカちゃんと君吉家のおじいちゃんも責任を問わなければならなくなってしまった。
My tears dripped and dropped. Dripped and dropped. Until just now, I had decided that it was Mion's fault, that she killed Rika-chan and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion. It was me.
俺が殺したも当然なんだ。
I mean, you're just as bad as a murderer, Keiichi.
圭一君。
I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. I mean, we're totally ignoring the fact that Mion just went and killed some friends because of some old custom. I'm just saying. Like, regardless of anything else, she totally did that. If, at the time, I'd stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika-chan and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had... then nothing would have happened. We would be spending our days having lots of fun, like we always did.
俺がバカだった。
I'm noticing that apology and being sorry seem to be a common theme between these two chapters yet again. I'm sure that'll come up again. If by shedding tears I could take it all back, I'll click the wrong button, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crimes I've committed.
ケイちゃんは何も悪くない。
Whoa. Well, I clicked a lot of buttons there. Mion gently began to speak to me as if trying to reason with me.
私は園崎家の当主として手を下さなければならなかったけど、園崎家の歴史なんか今にして思えば大したものじゃない。そんなもの全部投げ出しても私は仲間を救うべきだったのかもしれない。私がそんなものに屈したからあの二人を殺してしまった。それは他でもない。私、園崎美音が殺したという。
You definitely did the murdering here.
私には踏みとどまる100億の瞬間があった。でも踏みとどまらなかった。安易に自らの役割に屈し、仲間のために戦うことを放棄してしまった。だからこれは私の罪。私が殺した。園崎美音がこの手で。
Are we gonna get to see your murder dungeon before you get carted off? Because that would be pretty cool.
殺してしまった。それは何ら変わらない。何も。
Her masochistic laughter was sad. Especially because Mion boasted in club that she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments presented themselves. It was so painful.
でもみーちゃんは自分の意志で一人だけ救ったんだね。
え？
You saved yourself. Or... actually, I don't know about that. As I looked at her surprised, Rena stuck her finger right at my forehead.
圭一君だけをこんなにも強い力を持つみーちゃんなら造作もなかったのに。でも殺さなかったんだよね。
That's right! Mion was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her, even in our club, if she had seriously tried to kill me. I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after the other, for some reason I had this vague belief that only I would be left alive.
さて、どうして殺さなかったのかね。鬼の私には見当もつかないわ。ミオンの方に殺したくない都合でもあったんじゃないの？
そりゃどういう意味だよ。
Shush. Mion put a finger to her lips to say that Rena didn't need to talk.
大石は外で待ってんの？
うん。
逃げ場は？
ない。 ぐるっと囲んでるって言ってた。無線でたくさんの車が来てるみたいだったよ。みーちゃん家の広い敷地を全部囲んでると思う。
Mion fell silent. Rinna's merciless words felt cruel, but they weren't meant to be. Maybe they were trying to lessen her good friend's pain, if only by a little. Maybe they were considerate, like she was trying to help.
自首しよう。
Mion didn't open her mouth, but she smiled just a little.
私たちも一緒に行くよ。親友を一人きりになんか絶対にしない。
泣くことレナには勝てないわ。
She rose, scratching her head. Her face had returned entirely to that of the usual Mion.
自分で自分の罪どのくらいになるかよくわかってる。たとえ自首が認められても多分もうここに帰ってくることもないと思う。
I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So much that maybe recommending that she turn herself in was, in a way, extremely cruel.
だから最後にわがままを聞いてほしいな。
何かな。
30分でいいからケイちゃんと2人
Oh,
き
we're
り
gonna
にして
get
ほしい。
murdered in the murder dungeon. Excellent. Huh? My name suddenly came up, and it looked like I was the only one surprised about that.
ケイチくんどうかな。ケイチくんが嫌なら無理にとは言えない。
そうだね。嫌ならそれでもいいよ。私は鬼だもの。ケイちゃんはよそから引っ越してきた正真正銘の人間。相入れることなんてお社様が実在して仲介してくれない限り絶対にない。
There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy, unopposable tradition. Right now, the duty of handling this had fallen to me, and me alone. In fact, with me cornered, it would have been okay for her to blame me. However, Mion didn't say one word of blame. Far from it. I was guilty of the same crime, and she let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I didn't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika-chan and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear, the sins that Mion shouldered. So when it came to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate.
あ、いいぜ。
ありがとう。
私からもありがとうを言うよ。ケイチくん。
Rinna stood up. It looked like she would keep her promise with Mion and leave.
あ、いいよレナ。ここで待っててくれれば。ケイちゃんとは庭をぐるりと回りたいだけだから。退屈だったら私の部屋へ行けばいい。漫画とか好きに読んでていいよ。あ、なんだったらお気に入りの単行本丸ごと持ってってもいい。
嫌だよ。兄ちゃんの本は兄ちゃんのものだもん。勝手にレナの家に持って帰れない。
あんたはこんな時に限っていい子なんだから。
Mion took Rinna's head and rubbed it violently like I always did.
じゃあ行こう、ケイちゃん。
Is this where we get to go to the murder dungeon? I began to walk after Mion, who headed for the hallway, when Rinna silently stopped me.
みーちゃんもよろしくね。
あ、
みーちゃんもう二度と帰ってこれないって 確信してる。
I didn't know much about laws, but with as many deaths as she'd been involved in, the chances of her escaping a heavy punishment seemed non-existent.
みーちゃんが短気を起こさないように見張ってね。
Mion might not surrender herself to justice, so I might have to put an end to it myself. Rena had already thought that far ahead.
そんなこと絶対にさせないから。
Rena rubbed at her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them.
じゃあ言ってあげて。
I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared out the front door. I could clearly hear Rena sobbing from the other side of the paper door. Why was Mi-chan made a successor to demons? Maybe it just had to happen that way. But it's just so awful. Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This was the last of my time I could offer to Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Mion was already waiting outside the front door. Sorry about that. I got another achievement. I put on my shoes, tapped my toes against the floor a few times, then left. And Mion timidly came over. I'm glad the music changed, by the way. That was awful. It's like every minute and a half or something, maybe even every minute, it was like, and I'm like, no, please stop. Why is she turning all red at a time like this?
腕組んでもいいかな。
Sugoi. I get to hold Murderer Chan's arm. It was such a modest request.
別に構わないぞ。
With my permission, her face lit up with glee like a child being given a toy, and took my arm.
私に腕を組まれたらなんだか緊張しちゃわない？例えば急に関節技を決められちゃうんじゃないかななんて思ったりとか。
姉妹揃って同じことを言うんだな。思わないよ。全然。
Back when nothing had gone wrong yet. During those nostalgic days of the bustling commotion at Angel Mort, I counted back and was amazed. It had only been 1 week ago. I had been arm in arm with Shion then too. Linking arms with Mion like this really reminded me that they were twins. How much strength had they put into it? The sensation of their arms, their warmth, and the blood flowing. I could feel that their living sensations were all exactly the same.
シオンもケイちゃんのことが好きだったみたい。
I'm pretty sure she did. If this were a regular conversation, I might have jumped back, red in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I'd heard, my mind remained at peace. At peace? Yeah, peace.
ミオンとシオンは仲は良かったんだろ？
さあどうかな。ケイちゃんは自分の右手と左手は仲がいいと思う？
え？右手と左手？それは仲がいいとか悪いとかそういう言い方で例えるものじゃないな。
そういう関係だから。仲がいいとか悪いとかそういう尺度では測れない関係。
That didn't sound like it meant they got along really well.
例えば利き腕というものがあるように右手と左手には間違いなく優劣の違いがあ
Oh,
る。
this is a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to be.
もしも鍋つかみが片方しかなかったら迷うことなく利き腕にするでしょ。そういう差はあったんじゃないかと思う。
Sorry, Keiichi doesn't understand oven mitts. He only knows pork ramen. He can't actually make any food.
だからといって左手がなくなったっていいなんて思う人は誰もいないはず。そんなよくわからない関係だね。
多分それは近くにいすぎるから見えなくなっているだけで ととても仲のいいことなんだと思う。俺は一人っ子だから、祭りの前日ミオンとシオンが二人してじゃれ合っているのをすごく羨ましいと思った。
ないものねだりじゃないの？双子なんて昔は人をからかったりしてそこそこに面白かったけど、こうして互いがはっきりと異なる個性を持った今ではかえって邪魔なだけ。
Were they cursed? Or were they self-conscious? Their relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that wasn't an issue someone like me should intrude on. Just staying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Mion passed through the wide yard and invited me into the big desolate forest we'd seen on the way in. Such a big forest was part of their property, so I couldn't help but feel small.
でかい森だな。子供の頃はいい遊び場だったんじゃないのか？
Mion seemed to be silently reminiscing. I couldn't look into her mind, but she was probably thinking back to those fun days when they played as sisters without any antagonism. Every time the wind blew, it caressed the treetops and the leaves, making a swooshing, murmuring sound. Mion remained silent for a long time, thinking back on her younger sister, whom she'd gotten rid of with her own hands. There was no need for me to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mion suddenly stopped and turned around.
シオンはまだ生きてる。
Oh, really?
本当か？
Is she locked in your murder dungeon waiting to be murdered? Mion took a hard look into my eyes, then nodded quietly.
誰よりもむごたらしい死に方をさせてやろうとずっと考えて閉じ込めておいた
that's
から。
nice to hear.
今日までその方法はとうとう
Like,
思いつか
what
な
were you
かった。
thinking? Like, scalding coals into the base of your feet? You know, sawing in half? Decompression chamber? That one sounded particularly fun. Mion sounded as though she hated Shion, but also, deep down, she didn't completely detest her. So I took my other hand and rustled Mion's hair with it. Mion didn't only save me. She saved Shion too. Mion may have become a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it and was able to save 2 people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile and untangled her arm from mine. Then Mion quietly said,
来て。私の罪のすべてを見てほしい。
Oh, do we get to go to the murder dungeon now?
でもそれはケイちゃんにとってこの上
Oh,
なく辛い
yes.
光景かもしれない。
I certainly hope so. I could sense it. There, I would probably find all the sacrifices up until now. Looking at them would mean accepting Rika-chan and Satoko's deaths, as well as accepting that my best friend had done it.
すでに起こり終わってしまった事実だけれども、ケイちゃんは見ないことを選んでもいい。そうならばここで待っていて。私の手で全てを終わらせるから。
I was taken aback by how ominous that sounded. I remembered what Rena had told me. Mion might not surrender herself to justice, but instead choose to put an end to things herself. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoided looking, it was something that had already happened.
何を見たって？俺にとっての園崎美音は最高の親友だ。
I don't know. I feel like once your friends start murdering your other friends, they lose best friend status. Let's say that.
それは変わらない。一生。
The treetops softly swayed in the wind.
あんたもレナもどうしてこんな時ばかりかっこよくなるんだろうね。
Normally I'd say something rude right back at her, evading the question. But today I didn't. I just answered with a smile. At last, Mion started walking. Into the thick forest. Into the deepest part. After following a thin path that looked like an animal trail for a while, we finally came across a steep incline with a tunnel that reminded me of a coal mine or a bomb shelter. We were surrounded by shallow hills. It had been created in a spot not visible from the outside. There were many silhouettes of crows in the trees here and there. The abnormal odor I'd been smelling for a while was doubtlessly escaping from inside this place.
引き返すなら今だよ。ケイちゃんの中の園崎ミオンがどんな人かは知らないけれど、中に入ればそのミオンはきっと
変わらない。何度だって言う。園崎ミオンは俺の最高の親友だ。
I was praising Keiichi last time for his smart merit and not being an idiot and accepting that his friends, maybe, he just had misunderstandings that his friends were actually insane. And now he's being an idiot again. But you know what? I'd like to see what happens, regardless of whether he's an idiot or not. I clenched my fists. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could imagine. If I let my guard down, I might end up vomiting. Even so, I'll endure it. I'll overcome this pain and this suffering. It will never change that Mion is my greatest friend.
私はただの鬼だから、もう人間の気持ちはわからないけれど、ミオンがあんたを好きになったの。
Make sure you touch all the handles and all the sharp, pointy weapons on your way through, though, just in case.
他人事のように言うな。
Can they fingerprint at this point in history? I think they can. Maybe not very well, but, to a basic extent.
お前はミオンだ。鬼じゃない。血の通った人間で、俺の仲間なんだ。
Mion made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes, then placed a hand on the big door of the tunnel entrance.